Recently, whilst I was doing the healing practice that I have explained in my Power Ethic, Faith and Folly series, I had a clarifying insight. It was not a totally new insight. As one works with the healing practice, one finds that things tend to develop as clarifications. These amount to a deeper comprehension of the knowledge one has already come to know. The fact that new insights come as a result is evidence that it is working. This new insight clarified the role of fear for me. Many spiritual teachers have rather a negative attitude about fear. Some say that fear is the opposite of love. It very much seems that might be true. Indeed, I think that the lowliest slaves of the power ethic have made efforts to suppress that concept, probably because it is a stepping stone to the truth. In the film Donnie Darko, Patrick Swayze played a character, Jim Cunningham, a charismatic cult leader who pushed a simplistic self-help philosophy based upon the idea that all actions are expressions of either love or fear. During the course of the film, we discover that, far from being an example to look up to, the character is a tortured soul and a secret paedophile. This is the usual kind of technique employed in psychological operations to bury helpful information. I am not saying that the simplistic philosophy of the Jim Cunningham character is correct. The idea that love and fear are opposites was heavily misrepresented in the film. However, although it is a stepping stone to the truth, it can lead to serious errors if key insights are not added. In that regard, it is very much like what I said in previous videos about Carl Jung's saying, "What we resist persists." What we resist does indeed persist, but that fact needs to be put into perspective by another fact, namely that self-inflicted violence is the major cause of a very wise form of resistance. Fear is intimately connected to that dynamic. If we want to understand fear properly, we need to understand it from an epiphysical perspective. In the cycle of the evolution of life, the loving energy of pure creative will begins a new cycle at the cusp of Leo. That energy is uplifting and inspirational in nature. It warms the heart and drives away the darkness of fear like the sun at the height of summer. From this, it is clear to see that love and fear are intimately connected. However, they are not opposites. A better way of putting their connection is that fear results from the absence of love. But even that is not totally accurate. The truth is that love is ever present all the time. Fear results not from its absence, but from a misperception of its absence. We choose to experience a reality that tends to foster such misperceptions, but that choice is a loving one because it is there to show us a deeper truth, a truth that dispels the illusion. This leads us to an important question. What is fear? To seek a deeper understanding of fear, it is helpful to ask a question. If loving creative energy is like the sun at the height of summer, then why are there sometimes dark clouds that exclude it, and what causes such clouds? To answer that question, we only have to look at the essence of the preceding sign, Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon, the dark side of which is the very essence of fear. So what is the dark side of the moon and Cancer? Cancer and the moon both have the same primary essence, one static and the other dynamic. Their essence is water of fire, or the felt knowing of one's creative will. Cancer is the final stage in the cycle of the evolution of life. Its light side is the honeymoon, which was named after the moonth beginning at the summer solstice, when honey is most prevalent, and when marriages were traditionally performed. The honeymoon is an excellent allegory for the Cancerian essence. Cancer represents the sweet, homey feelings of being at ease with the felt knowledge of one's creative will. It is a warm feeling of security and familiarity, and the moon's dynamic essence is about feeling that felt knowing. When we feel the warm, cozy, loving reality, the baton is then handed to the cusp of Leo, which is like the impregnation that traditionally happened during the honeymoon. Thus a new cycle begins, one full of the light of love. What, though, happens if we don't feel that felt knowing of our creative will? If we don't feel that we know some aspect of the creative will that is being expressed in our current reality, it is because that reality contains a major component of creative will that we are misperceiving. Why are we not perceiving it correctly? Because we have not integrated the truth that will allow us to. Why have we not integrated said truth? Because we are shying away from the proper appreciation of it. In other words, we are afraid of even looking at it. So now we have painted a picture of a vicious circle. We are afraid because our fear prevents us from facing the task of seeing through it. This very much makes fear look like the baddie of such situations. However, to jump to that conclusion would be an error. To see fear as a baddie would seem to imply that it is illegitimate and should be ignored or even attacked. However, such an attitude invites a power ethic reaction, which is the very essence of a fear-based one, and would only make the situation much worse. We need to be far more intelligent with our fear, so that we respond from love. Many years ago, back in the 90s I think, I read a book by deep feeling therapist Theresa Alexander. It is called Facing the Wolf, and is based upon her initial few sessions of undergoing Arthur Janov's primal therapy. Her book opened my eyes about the nature of proper primal therapy. It is easy to get a wrong impression from Janov's early books, one that paints a picture that the therapy is an aggressive assault on one's psychological defenses. It was a very unfortunate impression, which led to a lot of abuse caused by unqualified people practicing their ignorant interpretation of the therapy. What I learned from Theresa's book is that proper primal/deep feeling therapy is in fact a perfect expression of the correct application of Leo energy. It is all about creating a safe, trustworthy, and lovingly supportive environment where the exploration of painful feelings can be encouraged. It is not about forcing people into their fears. It is about assuaging their fears and being present as a guiding light in the darkness. I highly recommend Theresa's book, and I think it has probably been reprinted recently. Over the years, I have occasionally attempted to find more information about her and her therapy. I have searched YouTube and the internet with no results. A few days ago, I had an intuitive feeling and searched again. I was amazed when I found a recent video interview with her on the channel being human, to which I am subscribed, but have not turned on the bell because the main focus of the channel is not very interesting to me. I found the channel via an interview posted on it with Janov, the wife of the late Arthur. I think that interview is better and more insightful. There are things Theresa says in her interview which are not completely insightful, especially about the causes of the current riots. I will leave links to both in the description. If we want genuine healing, we have to honor our fears instead of seeing them as an enemy. Many years ago, there was an interesting science fiction series which I enjoyed very much. I have forgotten the name. In one episode, people were dying via suicidally reckless behavior. For example, fearlessly walking across a busy motorway without looking. It turned out that these people were victims of the illegal trial of an anti-anxiety medication, which was far too effective. It completely eliminated their fear. That program drew my attention to the fact that fear is part of the wisdom of the body. Far from being an enemy, it has a literally vital role in maintaining our well-being. So what is the wise way to deal with our fear and the vicious circle via which it keeps us stuck and prevents our healing? The answer is that we have to understand that fear is of the body. Our true identity is as facets of the one life. So who and what we are is in fact the very light of love. We just have to train that insight into the way we express that on a body level. Put another way, we are the author, and the body and its journey is the book we have written. We both read and write it at the same time. As we shine the light of our loving creative will on it, we heal it and assuage our fear. As I have said in previous healing videos, stuckness, tension, and the symptoms they cause are signs of the inner conflict that resides in our bodies. Fear is the root of those things. To heal our fear, we need to be compassionate and loving with ourselves. The way to encourage ourselves to journey into the darkness and find the light beyond is to be a loving, guiding light for ourselves. We do that simply by being present with whatever stuckness, tension, and resultant symptoms are there to be sensed. A vitally important element of that is the absence of intentional forcing, as I have described in previous videos. It is well to understand, though, that the forcing that we are not fully aware of intending is also a manifestation of our fear and must be treated accordingly. When I had the above insight during my healing practice, I immediately began practicing it. I had already brought my attention to the felt sense of tension and stuckness within. I said to myself, this is a manifestation of fear stuck in my body. I resolved to honor the fear by being lovingly present with the manifestations and doing my best not to try to push beyond it. As I did so, the stuckness melted away and another layer of stuckness was exposed. I did the same with that layer and subsequent layers with the same positive result until I felt it was time to end the session. I have not discussed when to end a healing session before. When you do my healing practice, you often arrive at a point where your mind has become so much clearer that insights and exciting ideas about things you might do with your day arise, or you simply feel you have done enough. That is when I end a session. It is like saying, "That is all for now. Thank you for your attention."